What do being crew? It's your boy Savon Thomas, back with another episode of Coffee and Comments. Today we're going to review the movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Was it good? Was it trash? Let's talk about it, but first, take a sip. Welcome back, Being Crew. Again, this is a review of the movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Came out in 2010, so a little bit ago. But before I get into the review, as always, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Helps us grow. We're looking to grow this year. Get those numbers up. Pump those numbers up. But excited for you guys. Thank you for tuning in and watching my content as always. But please subscribe to the channel if you can. It's free to you guys. Helps me out a ton. But Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, it's a fun movie. Let me start by saying that. I would say I'm not the intended audience for this. This is a very, 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 very video game heavy movie. And I would say this, like, if you are a gamer, a true gamer, you're going to absolutely love this movie. Like, I know some people that are gamers and they love this movie. For me, like, I'm a gamer to an extent. I kind of talked about this for Ready Player One as well, but it's just like I'm not that big of a gamer. Like I'm not like I play Madden, or I play FIFA, I play 2K, things like that. It's kind of like sports games versus like true gaming, if that makes sense. And so this movie gears off that. And for those who don't know, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Scott Pilgrim is a guy. He's actually dating this 17-year-old girl, which that was weird because he's 22. They kind of talk about that, but honestly, I don't know why that was a point in the movie to date a high schooler. It is what it is. I'm sure this is based on like a book or something. But then he meets this girl named Ramona. Ramona's his age. Ramona has these 7 evil exes, and in order to date Ramona, he has to defeat those exes, right? And so you see the different exes, and they go through fights. It's very animated, and that's one of the biggest things I did love about it was the fights. Overall, the movie didn't like draw me in like as I thought it would. I figured like before I watched it because I've heard so much good things about it, but overall it was a good movie, if that makes sense. And there's a lot of stars in this movie. Like when I was watching it, I'm like, were these people as big today as they were in 2010, 14 years later? Obviously the main character is Michael Cera, right? Scott is Michael Cera, so like everybody knew him in 2010. Obviously, you know, you have Superbad that came out 2008, 2009. Then you have this movie for Michael Cera, so pretty big name back then at that point. But you have Brie Larson in the movie. You have Chris Evans in the movie, which both of those are now like Marvel famous. Chris Evans, obviously, he was in Nine Other Teenage Movie. He's been in a few different movies, but today he's a way bigger star than he was back then. Aubrey Plaza is in this movie. Kieran Culkin as well is in this movie as well. He just won an Oscar. So there's all these different like people within this movie. I'm like, man, there's so many stars, and I can name more that are like famous now that were in this movie. So it was fun to see like these people, and I'm just sitting there wondering, I'm like, hey, man, are they as big were they as big back then as they are now? Because like I wonder how much that budget would be today to make the same movie. But overall, it was fun. Like you see a lot of, again, the video game elements within the movie. It kind of reminds you like an arcade game of like all the different things that happen. Fighting game. I thought it was fun. Them fighting back and forth. I mean, I left a good review on the my Instagram page for this as well. But fun movie. I don't have really much to say. Like the acting was good. The cuts for me, like there was times where I was like, okay, that cut was kind of weird. It's very quick humor too, which I enjoy sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, okay, you should draw that out a little bit longer. Like one of my favorite parts was like when Knives is like, is Scott here? And then he like breaks the window and jumps out the window, and he's like, oh, he just left. Like there's a lot of like fun moments throughout the show or the movie, excuse me. But it's just, I don't know. It just wasn't like my movie, but it is good. For me, I still gave it a high score. I gave it 8.1 out of 10 because it is a fun movie. It is on our medium dark roast list as well. So it is still a fun movie, but it's just, I don't know. I would have been higher rated. I think a lot of people like this movie. It would have been higher rated for me if like I was a gamer, if that makes sense. So good movie. Check it out. If you've seen Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which a lot of people have, sound off in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's on Max. Come back and let me know what your thoughts are. But appreciate you guys for tuning in to the episode of Coffee and Comments.